that part of the evening, which we think will last until about 6:15. We will then have questions, and I'll talk to you more at question time of how we're going to do the questions. But the questions will be asked by me to the candidates, and that will take us through to about 7. And at that point will be the end of the formal part of the evening. But the candidates have all indicated that they're happy to stay on for up to an hour over a tea or a coffee and a biscuit. So if anyone wants to have a one-on-one with the candidates, that is the time to do it. So I will now, based on the fact that I'm going from my immediate right all the way around, I would now very much like to ask David Duravis to step up, and it is your turn, sir.
My turn.
I'll leave you to it.
Kia ora and good evening, everyone. Lovely to be here in Turangi this evening. Good to see such a great turnout. Thank you so much to Mike for facilitating tonight, and Beth. Wonderful organisations that you represent, and truly appreciate the work that you guys do down here. Look, you've probably heard quite a bit of me, but for 12 years I've been lucky enough to be your mayor. My qualifications: I'm a former stock agent, retail operator and sports administrator. I think stands me in good stead to be able to handle the modern inquiries of various council activities these days. Look, together as a district, we've achieved many major milestones. We've got a modern airport. We need some more flights, of course, and lakefront upgrades, supercars and World Ironmans, which brings money into the whole district. New Zealand's most beautiful town twice, and indeed Turangi became a finalist in the most beautiful small town. So that's the one aspiration that I'd like to see come through in the next 3 years. And of course we became a global CNN top global destination, top 10, which is fantastic. Certain people here this evening might be asking for change, but why would you? It's stable, calm, and very well respected around the nation. And we also have $90 million in an investment fund that you guys own. And of course, we've managed to retain our AA credit rating. Those things don't just come easy. They take quite a bit of time and effort and some good discipline at council to achieve. I've been proud of what we have achieved for Turangi, and there's a lot more to go, I know that, and the surrounding areas, but it's nowhere near enough, as I said, and there's a lot more to do, I'd like to do. Te Matapuna, the wonderful sports facility down there, the new playground down here, which is based on the Tongariro Delta, the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs. I don't know if Gina's here tonight, but I've been able to place 20 jobs. There was some funding. Was that it? Is that 3 minutes? No? Sorry. And of course, we're still working on the co-governance committee. It'll take a little while. In these difficult times, trust and experience matter. I stand by the proper process and do not make promises that I don't keep. I will not let you down, and I will not leave the job half done. Vote David T, still the Mayor for Turangi. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Fennell. I'm standing for Mayor in Taupo. Thank you for all turning out tonight, particularly in this adverse weather, and it's forecast to get worse. The reason I'm standing is really because of David and the 8.4% rate increase we've had. And in my due diligence of wandering around just checking whether I wanted to do this job or not, I heard these stories from people, and the one case in particular was a young lady who was a solo breadwinner in the family. She had 3 children and she just got her rates demand, and she said that equated to $80 per week. When I was in there earlier this week talking to her, she said, "John, I gave you the wrong number. When I added the regional council number to it, it's now gone to $90. She said, I was struggling with the 80, with the 90 has made it quite a challenge for me. And those are the people that I'm trying to help. And there's need to have items and nice to have items. And what I stand for is the basic stuff we must have, which is roads, water and rubbish. And of course with the water there's the sewage disposal and all that as well. So it's a matter of getting those costs back under control. And I've been in business for the last 50 years plus, and many of them, one of which was the rescue helicopter, which we did a lot of work out of here, and it's still working here now, flying people to hospital. We started on a base of nothing. We had no budget, and I had to use one of my own machines, get it going. Fortunately, we got some sponsorship, and it's been very successful. I must say that David saved it once. I'll give you the acknowledgement for that, David. We went to Wellington when Minister of Health were going to take it off us. But the elephants in the room is the rates increase, and what's worse, it's projected that it will go up by an increased amount on top of what we recently paid for the next 2 years. You know, there's a lot of people just can't afford that. You'll hear from some of the other candidates that it has to happen. Well, I come with a new look into things and how we run a business, and there's two things you can do. You can reduce the costs or you can increase the income. We need to look at reducing the costs. We've got no option. You'll hear that it's not possible. We've got to find a way and keeping those under control. It's me, Beth. There are other issues such as the JMA. I personally believe that needs to be transparent, circulated to everyone, because it affects the new additions are going to impact on everyone in the district. Everyone needs to understand it, and depending on if it affects the Constitution, it may need to go to a referendum for everyone to make a decision on it. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any question when the time comes.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Kevin Taylor, tōku ingoa. Wait. You all hear that? Well, the noise over here. Thank you for being here. Before I start, I just want to acknowledge Tātumu, who is unwell at the moment. So I'm Kevin Taylor. I've had the privilege of serving on council for 6 years now, the last 3 as Deputy Mayor. Prior to that, I served in the New Zealand Police for 44 years. Had the privilege of actually running the station down here at Turangi many, many years ago, and got quite used to the home baking people would bring in. So, belated thank you for that. A little bit more about me. I have a business studies degree and a graduate diploma in dispute resolution. I'm also a Resource Management Act Commissioner. I'm married to Raymond, and we have raised our 5 children in the Taupo district. And when I'm not working on council, I'm involved in a number of not-for-profits. I'm chair of the Awhina Society Trust, and we run the Women's Refuge in Taupo and the Food Bank. I'm also chair of Land Sa Taupo, and I've volunteered for Ironman since 1999, missing 1 year for a family wedding. I understand the law and how local government works. And local government is at a very difficult crossroads right now. And we're facing unprecedented change right across the board. So 2 of the really big things I'm focused on is rates affordability, and I agree with the 2 previous speakers. We're at 8.4%. Now we have a plan, the long-term plan, which we consulted on with this community as well as every other community in the district. But that has rates going down to 1.1% increase over the lifetime of that plan. But it's the funding model for local government that is fundamentally broken. Rates are no longer fit for purpose. It doesn't work. I pay rates, along with most of you here. You pay 15% GST on your rates. That 15% goes to central government. No government building in this district or anywhere in the country pays rates. You pay that. So we need to put pressure on central government to change the funding model. And I'm happy to do that on your behalf. The second big ticket item, as I see it, is the viability of council. There are so many things changing. The Resource Management Act, planning, consenting, waters, and regional council structure, that the viability of council in the next 3 to 5 years is seriously under a threat. I understand what's going on, and I'm happy to advocate on our behalf that we remain viable. Turangi remains viable. You don't lose your voice. So thank you for that. Vote Kevin Taylor for the Mayor of Taupo.
Good evening. Yes, I think all our thoughts are with the Te family at the moment. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out on a wet night to meet all the candidates. I see a lot of familiar faces out there in the audience, and also I see some familiar faces who are no longer here. Who am I? I'm pretty much a local. I've been a part of this town all my life. I can still hear and see the days of ministry. You supported me when I was a small business person at the age of 26 across the road in a fish and chip shop. And you supported me when I became an extremely successful real estate agent. I've been in the trenches with you as a community on multiple occasions. Sometimes just to get the basic needs, whether it be roading, curbing, or these air conditioning units in this very hall. I did it all because I believe in this community. I believe in its people, and I believe in its potential. 6 years ago, this community rallied right here. We sent a clear signal to council that 30 years of underinvestment was enough. We had crumbling netball courts, no sports facilities we could be proud of, an unloved cemetery. The list went on. With United Voices, we received over $10 million of investment. Admittedly, most of it came from central government, through local government, but we got it. We got a fantastic sports hub, a great playground next door, and some much-needed curbing and channeling. But then the money ran out, as did the enthusiasm and the promises to complete the picture. Our event centre, although signalled and forecast in the long-term plan, which is crucial to financial performance, disappeared. Councillor Mack was promised on his last days in office that it would happen and to tell the community it would be so. Meanwhile, it didn't, and it's been kicked down the road, which in political terms means it's unlikely to happen. Meanwhile, the curbing in Rangamohia Road is rotting. Our swimming pool, the paint eroded to bare concrete for months before we finally had fresh paint applied. Why does it always feel like an uphill struggle? And I can tell you that Mangakino feels the same. How do we change it? You vote. As a mayor, I'll create a cohesive and forward-thinking council that will lead with vision. I have a 100-day plan to make things better. I'll cut waste, reorientate council back to its core services, and run it like the business that it is. We'll reduce debt by selling down redundant assets and take control of our rates. We'll seek external funding, partner up with public and private partnerships to create aspirational... Am I out? Oh, come on. Can I just finish off? I will not be giving you lofty promises. I cannot keep. That is something I've never done. But I will represent you like no one has represented you before. When this district rises, we all rise. From Whakamaru to Waitahanui, from Kuratau to Kinloch, Turangi to Taupo, I'll work hard to ensure that no community is ever left behind. Thank you.
You just got away with that, Zane. Yes. And just before I introduce the Turangi-Tongariro ward candidates, I just would like to welcome Wahine Murch. Welcome. Thank you very much for making the time. I understand you had a big problem getting down with roadworks. Yes, I was there earlier on today, so I sympathise with you. So, now, just Wahine, you understand the process. That's cool. So I won't have to tell you anything. Perfect. On that basis, Sandra, please, I invite you up.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, Turangi. 3 years ago, I stood here and I made you a promise. I promised that I would speak up for Turangi anywhere and everywhere I could. And I have kept that promise. I answer every email, every telephone call, because your voice matters. When Council voted to close the Turangi airfield, I didn't accept that. I went into the community, I found allies, and together we kept it open. Those were the same councillors that voted for Boom Boom. When we faced projected rate rises of 25%, we got it down to 8.4%, but it was a very, very hard slog. When NZTA planned to close State Highway 1 for 6 weeks, I went to them directly because so many of you had contacted me. They listened, and instead of a full closure, what we were all expecting, we have got the softer traffic management that you are seeing today. I've also pushed hard on the erosion challenges facing our southern settlements. That work led to emergency action, and now we have a resource consent with WRC, Waikato Regional Council, for a breakwater to protect the shoreline out there. There's no doubt about it, rates are the biggest issue ahead of us, and you can be absolutely certain that central government is watching us. It can't be too. We cannot keep loading costs onto our people. We've brought projected increases down before and we will do it again, and I will be at the table fighting for fiscal restraint. I've supported ratepayer associations. I've worked alongside committees. I represent you at Council and on the Co-Governance Committee, and I am the chair of the Tongariro Representative Group. My goal is the same, it never changes. Move this community forward, make your voice heard. If you re-elect me, I will keep doing what I've always done, speaking up for Turangi everywhere, every day, in every space that I can.
Good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience that Sandra's got. I've lived in Turangi for over 50 years, went to school here, my kids went to school here, my grandkids were born here. I believe this town needs somebody to push it forward, somebody to listen to the people of this town. I believe I'm that person. I have a business that I've run here for 30 years, tyre shop in town. Most of you are my customers. I've seen a lot of you people around the place. Also done 32 years in search and rescue, picking up people, broken, injured, and unfortunately bodies. That's always been part of my life. It's always been part of this town as well, and it'll always be part of this town. What am I going to do for this town? I'm not actually sure yet until I actually see what needs to be done, until I see some papers, until I see some numbers, some figures, some paperwork. Unfortunately, I can't comment on a lot of things that people are probably waiting for me to talk about. But rest assured, if I am elected, I will look at these things, I will study them, and I will fight for the town. Thank you.
Just to let you know, I get accused of talking too much sometimes. So I thought I'd just bring the piece of paper. Hey, picture paper, 1,000 words, doesn't it? You know. So, have you started yet? Yep. Oh! So, it's very easy. I'm here to solve the community issues that you have. I'm not going to talk about myself tonight. I've been here for 63 years. I got brought down from Taupo, born in Taupo to Taupo fellas, and brought down the next day. And I always fight those Lipero fellas over there because they think I'm from Turangi, but no, I'm from Taupo too. So the other thing is that when you do community issues, if you come to me, we'll fight the issues together. We'll fight it to the board or whoever we need to fight. If you've got some community solutions, let's join together, and do it together. Because let's face it, the board says they got $90 million, and no disrespect, David, but I've heard of a $230 million debt that the board has. So and I'm trying to find out those because I'm a numbers person. And before I get into being a councillor, it would be good to find out the exact profit and loss accounts for the Turangi ward, Turangi-Tongariro ward, which I think should actually be named Whanaro, etc., all the way to Turangi-Tongariro or Tuko, and all the little towns right out to this area, out to Hartlepool. It's unfair that it's Turangi-Tongariro. 30 seconds? Okay, so if you vote me in, I'll be your community leader, but we gotta put it all together ourselves, okay? It's tātou e. Together, all of us fighting together. Together, all of us working together. That's what I want to do. And I will do it with your help. Vote me, David Livingston. Thank you.
Nothing like a good visual, isn't it? Now, just before I invite Wahine up, the people standing at the back, there are, as Kevin Taylor said, it's like church. No one sits in the front pew. So, honestly, if you want to come up, there's seating here. Wahine, I'd like to invite you up now as the first speaker for the Maori Ward candidates.
Thank you. Tēnā no tātou. Tuatahi, aroha mai mo taku tōmeri. Sorry for my lateness this evening. Roadworks. Engari. Tēnā koutou. Mai te o te atua ki tau haramaunga whiti atu ki te tihi o Tongariro. Ko Tongariro te maunga, ko Taupo te moana, ko Ngāti Tūwhare toa te iwi. My name is Wahine Murch. I'm standing as one of the Māori Ward candidates for our Te Papa Māoriaria Māori Ward. And like some of my fellow candidates here, I'm not going to use this time to talk about myself, because it's not about me. And throughout my campaign, I've tried to make it not about me as much as possible. Some of my background, I suppose I'll share with you guys today. I'm from Waitahanui. I'm from Ngāti Sute Mohuta, from Pākira Marae. On my koro side, I have whakapapa links to Ngāti Hine, to our whānau e Korohe, no te whānau te Ahuru ahau. I am a rangatahi, I'm a young person, throwing myself in the ring of fire, mo te aha, mo te kaupapa, mo tātou te kaupapa. I don't have any written speech here today, I'm just being real with it. I'm a taiao lover, I'm a mokopuna, I'm attached to my kaumātua, so that's how I grew up, on the marae, kaupapa kid, trying to sort of flip the narrative for us in Taupo and in Turangi. Koina, tēnā koutou.
Come down and sit, please. Mahapi, look. Does he follow those instructions? Kia ora koutou, ko ngā hui a fōmana hau, he uri no konei, no Ngāti Tūwhare toa. Hubby, mum, dad, boy sitting with his nose on an iPad. I never really thought I would ever go for council, to be fair. I was always working in Wellington for a few years there, actually advising the central government. The recent ways the government have been moving recently made my mind up that no, I need to come home, stay home, focus on iwi and hapu affairs and our whenua here. That's also why I then put my hand up for the council, because the kaupapa going recently around JMA, waterways, wastewater, the way Tūrangi isn't always got the biggest voice, and neither do any of the other smaller communities, that really started to irk me. When I sat down with my sister and realised, there's nothing actually stopping me now from putting my hand up. That's why I decided, why not? Literally a week before the nominations opened. So here I am. Happy to have a yarn with anyone after, or if you want to pick up a pila and come down to Takanu Marae in the next week or so, we'll probably be down there too. So, kia ora. Leave it there.
Thank you, ladies. And just before I introduce the Waikato Regional Council candidates, I should have mentioned at the start, Danny Lachlan, who was the other Maori ward candidate, he did send his apologies in. He was away. He would have loved to have been here, but he did tender his apologies, so I should have mentioned that before. So now I'd like to introduce the first of the two Waikato Regional Council, Debbie Dales.
Just for the record, David's in Greece, so I don't think he would have wanted to come here, jeez. Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa, ko Debbie Davies tōku ringoa. Nā uri ahau no Ngāti Tūwhare Tua me Ngāti Raukawa me Ngāti Mani o Poto me Ngāti Ranginui hoki. For those of you I don't know, and I don't think I see many in the room, a few, I'm a local girl. I was brought up in Taupo. Many of my whānau from Tūrangi, but I didn't grow up here in Tūrangi. So don't hold that against me. So why am I here? Again, I'm a bit like, so I like to listen. I've written a speech, but in the last 3 Meet the Candidates, I've never actually used my speech at all. And it's because I've listened to people talking and then I read the crowd pretty much. So for me, why would I put my hat in the ring for Waikato Regional Council? Well, I'm going to be honest. I got bullied to do this, and that was from colleagues. I've been in the arena of iwi for over 20 years now. I'm the Deputy Chair for Raukawa Charitable Trust. And so the reason I got bullied for this particular role, Waikato Regional Council, is because you don't have a voice at the table, folks. That's the reality. So I put up in my campaign rates, farming and water. What does that mean? Well, it means that I'm going to lobby for all those 3 things for you. However, I must say, this has been a month now into the campaign journey. And what I've realised by going from different people, different areas, I was at Reparua last week, you don't have a voice. The community has no voice at the table. And I heard from farmers, I sat with them, listened to them. You don't have a voice, folks. I'm the person that's your voice. And now I know why people bullied me to put my head in the ring. What am I good at? Governance. I know most of the people that sit on Waikato Regional Council. I'm in boards sitting alongside them. If you want that, if you want the same old, nothing for your community, then vote the same person in. But if you want somebody to be your voice at the table, vote Debbie Davies. Kia ora koutou.
Tēnā koutou katoa, I'm Deb Mayer. I'm a local ecologist and an environmental advocate, and I've been standing to protect Lake Taupo, our rivers and our landscapes that we love. I genuinely care about our rivers, our bush, our birds and our lakes, and that's why I was also tapped on the shoulder and asked to come along and stand up, because there was no voice at our communities. I have extensive governance experience across central and local government, community organisations and environmental management. I bring scientific literacy, regional insight and an evidence-based approach to governance. I believe in data-based critical thinking rather than opinion or political bias. It is this data that I have analysed that provides evidence that Maori ward councillors already play a vital role in weaving stronger bonds across our communities, from helping activate collective responses during natural disasters to acting as a bridge for groups who might otherwise not have a voice at all. The key issues I'm passionate about are stronger protection for fresh water, biodiversity and biosecurity, support for farmers, landowners and iwi in restoration, flood protection and climate adaptation, community voices at the decision-making table. My role is to advocate for you, to listen, collaborate and focus on solutions that genuinely improve our community. Strong leadership is about setting aside personal agendas, bias and operating with a shared purpose. It means respecting different perspectives, having robust discussions and then moving forward. Your council needs you to have a voice, and that voice is Debbie Mayer, Waikato Regional Council. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone, all the candidates. We're actually running a very tight ship because we're 15 minutes ahead of schedule, which means there'll be more time for one-on-ones with the candidates to follow. So now we're coming to the question time, and I would like to thank all those people who emailed in their questions. We had quite a wide variety of questions. Some of the questions that we received were quite specific, and some of the questions we received were also targeted to individual candidates. So what we have tried to do is make these questions as general and as positive as we can be. And the idea is that the 4 mayoral candidates will be given 3 questions in rotation, and then the other ward candidates will have 2 questions asked of them. So the process will be that they will have 90 seconds to answer the question, and Beth again will give the chime after 60 seconds. They will stay seating for these, and I've got 4 microphones. So as you started, David, it's you first, John. I think that's what they do work. We'll find out. So the questions that I will be putting to the mayor will just be for the mayoral candidates, and the same will apply to the Turangi-Tongariro ward candidates, and the same with the Maori candidates, and the same with the WRC candidates. So we will ask a question of the mayoral candidates, and then we'll go on to the ward councillors, and then come back again. So the first question is to the mayoral candidates, and it's an iwi question. And the question is this: with approximately 65% of the Turangi population being Maori, as mayor, how will you engage with and support tangata whenua for the betterment of all who live in our rohi?
Well, I'm here to represent anyone and everyone, in fact, and really I need to hear from you people as to what you want. And that's my role, is to listen. My dad said you got 2 ears, 2 eyes and 1 mouth, and I try to use it in that proportion to listen to what you guys want, and I'll be guided by you.
Thank you.
And I hope you got some spare batteries, Beth, because we're down on the numbers.
It's worked? No, it worked. Have a go.
I'll take his extra 30 seconds then. No, just kidding. In exactly the same way I have been for the last 3 years. So 3 years ago, the district voted for Māori wards. I support Māori wards. That was as a direct request from Tūwharetoa. It has been a success story for us as a district. I'm on the Turangi Co-Governance Committee, and if I'm re-elected, I hope to remain on that. Like John said, I've got 2 ears, rather large ones, and 1 tongue. I prefer to use my ears more than my mouth, and I would listen and engage and be part of the solution for you collectively. Thank you.
Yes, it's pretty poor. I would actually concur to a degree with some things. I'm about everyone having the same and equal value around the table. Everyone has the same voice. Part of my 100-day plan is to meet with iwi and hapu leaders from day one to understand what's really important for them, even though I have a good understanding already. I want to see things change for Māori people at grassroots, because I see it on a daily basis. I want to lift our people up. And that means but that's not just Māori people, it's all people. But I've been part of this community for a long, long time. I understand our challenges, and I'm more than happy to have a kōrero at any time to help lift our people up. Thank you.
As you know, we've had Māori wards for the last triennium. I believe they've worked very well for local representation for the Indigenous people of the district. You know, obviously there's a referendum coming through, and so, you know, I'll honour whatever that referendum says, but they have worked particularly well. I have a very close relationship with the Paramount Chief and his family, and also the various hapu around the district, and I'm very proud of that because, you know, I'm obviously not from that ethnicity, but it takes a long time and takes you know, a cup of tea and a very take the scenic route, I always say, and you know, it must be such an important part. The Maori economy is just huge. You know, it makes up a massive amount of our GDP, and a bit like these guys with the ears, my dad used to say, never miss an opportunity to shut up.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Yes, it's probably quite sound advice, actually. Never too early, too late to learn those sort of things. Now I'm going to and call on the Turangi-Tongariro ward candidates, and the first question goes to you, Raf, and the question is very much around rates, allocation and voice. At the council table, you will be representing the interests of a number of ratepayers, permanent residents, holiday homeowners and commercial businesses. How will you ensure Turangi is recognised proportionally in the distribution of rates through the annual plan?
Okay, yeah, so again, is it working?
Yep.
Okay, so again, without seeing pieces of paper, without knowing exactly where money is going, what money's being spent on what, where, how, it's a little bit hard to give you an answer. But rest assured, I will look at things and I will have a look at where the money is going, what the money's been spent on, and the reason for such huge increases. If those increases are unjustified, which looking like it is, then it's time to do something about that.
Now to you, David. Yep.
I'll answer the same question.
You're answering the same question, my friend.
Kia ora again. I believe Tūrangi should have its own rating. Turangi-Tongariro from Whanganui Bay to Hātebe needs to pull itself out of the Taupo District Council rating area, and we need to go back to having our own rating department where the expenditure here gets spent here. Where when you fellas pay your rates, it gets spent here. We don't know, as I sit here, I've been trying to find out the totals, and because I'm a numbers person, we don't know how much money gets spent in Turangi. We can't find it through the so-called reports that they have. And that's one big problem that I have. And I believe the Taupo District Council has a duty of care to provide those reports to our people properly. Proper business accountability and financial reports. I'd like to see us paying our rates, but that money stays here in the Turangi-Tongariro ward for expenditure purposes. Thank you.
Thank you. Turangi is a suburb of Taupo. We can't do what David's talking about because we are all one area. When I stood for council, my commitment to myself was that I would reach out to every ratepayer association, every community, and I have done that. I have built relationships with all the ratepayer associations, with all the chairs and with all of the people. And I take your concerns and I take your messages up to council. I don't take it to the council table. I take it to the people at council. I take it to council where the people who matter, who get the jobs done every single day, talk to me. I've built relationships with all of the staff. I know who to go to. I know how to get things done. Our rates are actually spent quite well in this district. When you look around and see what we've actually got, I look at our water, just look at the water across the district. It's not too bad.
We now move to the Maori Ward candidates, and the first question is about representation. The Maori Ward provides 2 seats at the council table. How do you believe a Maori Ward councillor can add value to council, 2 voices amongst 13, while still advocating for the interests of the people you represent?
I think this is going, yep. Well, all I can say really is vote Māori wards for a start. The presentation around the board, it's a bit of a daft question if you ask me. If we were looking at it, I would prefer it to actually be more than 2 seats, to be fair. If we're talking about the treaty, we're looking at a partnership. You can't have a partnership when you've only got 2 seats. Tangata whenua are here to manaki the whenua, make sure everything here, no matter who's living here, is pristine, taken care of, and we are all looking after each other. We don't want to be divisive. It is, we want to make sure our whakapapa is intact. So whether you're staying on the whenua or coming in for a holiday, we're here as tangata whenua to manaki everybody. That is the tūwhare toa way. Those within our rohe are looked after. So if you ask me, I'd rather have a 60-40%, with 60 being Māori. Thank you.
Kia ora anō, ai tautoko ngā kōrero kua kōrero here, ngā huia. Representation, what springs to my mind, how are we going to balance representing Māori as well as representing the community as a whole? How are we going to have an impact if there's only 2 Māori seats among the council? I'll break it down for you. 1, having Māori wards and having Māori wards and Māori seats on the council, the difference is that you're always going to have a Māori candidate sitting on the table. Māori bring experience that's different from the status quo. Māori understand tikanga, we understand whakapapa. Now, how are we going to balance that out with representing the rest of our community? We find commonalities, and for me, I spoke about being a taiao person. The commonality that Māori have with the rest of the community, the common theme that we all want to keep and protect is our taiao and our wai, our natural environment and our water, because if we look at it, water, that's our common factor. We all want to be able to drink fresh water. We know that in 100 years from now, there's going to come a time when we're not going to be able to drink gold, we're not going to be able to drink putia and money, it's the water. So that's our common ground. We all agree that we need to protect our taiao and protect our water. That's our common ground. That's the bridge that Māori wards have with the wider community. Tēnā koutou.
Thank you. Another question to the Waikato Regional Council. This is a local environmental issue. And the question to you, Deb, is this. The health of Lake Taupo is deteriorating in Waihi Bay by an invasive weed build-up. And David, you have brought this up at other meetings. This will harm the adjoining wetlands and home to a number of native and migratory birds. How will you reverse this trend, ensure stronger protections for our fresh water in the future, and engage with the community on the progress? Deb?
Biosecurity comes under the Waikato Regional Council. Biosecurity also comes under MPI. So there's central government funding and there's also regional funding. But there's not really many people doing anything. And that is the issue that we have when we have an invasive pest. If we have an invasive pest, the biggest thing we can do is enforcement and monitoring. And so it's about finding the funding, and there is surpluses at Waikato Regional Council, finding the funding so that we can actually get more people on the ground and have a look at the invasive pest species. Some invasive pest species, like alligator weed, might take 25 years to get rid of. So we need to prioritise different types of invasive pest plants and look at the way we're going to tackle them with either spraying or actually stopping them spreading into another area. So it's all about funding and working together for the best of our environment. Thank you.
Debbie, you.
Kia ora koutou. So I'm not the scientist. I always say my mate Deb is the scientist, but I am the numbers person. My background is finance. What I would throw at, I've been to a biodiversity workshop a couple of weeks ago. One of the things we talked about was weed spreading. How do we fix it? It all comes down to the numbers, folks. It really does. It comes down to the funding. What I do know about Waikato Regional Council is they have a surplus. They have a huge surplus sitting there. I said in my original kōrero there that you don't have a voice at the table. That means you don't know that there is a surplus sitting there and we aren't tapping into the surplus. So for me, if it was for Tūrangi and I was representing Tūrangi, I'd be saying to you, there is funds there. How do we get it? Bring me what you want. Tell me what you need. I can advocate for that. I do know that for a fact. It's not a promise I wouldn't keep, but I do know there are surpluses there. I also know if you read a document like this, which is handed out from Waikato Regional Council, is their rates are on the way down. That's what their plans are saying. So for me, it's about holding them to account. So they're saying in 5 years' time that rates will be at zero. I'd like to be there to make sure they do.
Thank you, Debbie. Now we go back to the mayoral candidates, and this is your second question. This is an accountability question, and this has obviously been raised at a number of the previous mayoral candidates. So the question is this: as mayor, how would you bring trust, accountability and transparency to your role, those of your councillors and that of the CEO?
So I've heard the word transparency a lot during this campaign and accountability. First of all, I'd point out that all council meetings are open to the public, with the exception of those that are closed for reasons under the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act. Those are for good reasons. In terms of accountability and trust, I hold myself accountable and I would make myself available at all times. I've done that in the last 3 years. Again, taking what Sandra said about answering emails, fronting up to meetings, I've been to every public meeting so far. I'll intend to carry on that. There will be open forums with the Mayor's office. There will be meetings around the district, not just in Taupo, but here in Turangi and in Mangakino and in Kinloch and in some of the other smaller settlements. So it's around availability and accessibility for me, and I'll make sure that that is done, not just for myself, but for the other elected members as well.
I was releasing a video today on transparency. I would hold every councillor to the highest standard of integrity, and I would expect that they would do the same of me. I would create, the reason being is because the professionalism and reputation of council is paramount. I'd create a conflicts of interest charter that every councillor had to sign. And if there was ever the hint or the perception that there is a conflict of interest within the organisation, the peers, the people around that table would encourage that person to sit out of the discussion and the vote. So we can rebuild trust and transparency between ratepayer and council. We need to have respect and faith in our organisation. In regards to accountability, one step further, I will create what's called an online dashboard. Every 3 months we'll create graphs and figures that will be uploaded onto the internet, which you'll be able to access numbers and data such as how many building consents were issued, what our current debt level is, what our rate take is, and how your elected members have fronted for you, what meetings they've attended, and how they have voted. But above all that, town hall meetings in every town hall across our district. Thank you.
I agree with the previous two speakers. Transparency is so important. That's why all our meetings are public, unless we're disposing of some property or something that's good reasons. And we take advice on that to make sure that we keep it as public as much as possible. All our phone numbers are on the website. Just ring us anytime. And indeed, people do ring to find out the truth about it. Items. There's been a bit of talk about council debt. We only borrow money to build stuff. We don't borrow it to pay for the groceries, as it were. So we borrow money to build stuff like water treatment stations, wastewater and all that sort of thing. And the other thing is with staff numbers. Yes, we have a lot of staff and they're fantastic staff, but that's the levels of service that we give to this district. You know, if you want to cut the levels of service out, mowing the lawns or whatever, gardens and all that sort of thing, we can cut the staff numbers. So it's my job to have the proverbial the CEO to make sure that the CEO is doing her job and keeping everyone effective. So thank you very much.
The greatest respect, David. I think you have brought a couple of groceries in your time. Any rate, transparency. You know, I've been in this district for 50 years, and every time we go to these candidates' meetings, I hear the same thing. We don't know what you guys are doing, and we hear the talk. We're going to fix it, but every time, every 3 years, it comes up again. We've got to do better, and there are a number of people that are working on that already. You heard about Sane and his little plan. We've got something similar as well that we'll be implementing. Got to be transparent. How did the JMA get to the stage that it did without anyone knowing? That's an example of where we need to have more transparency. With regards to accountability, you people will hold us accountable. I'm always available. I have been my whole life, 24/7, literally available on the end of the phone.
Thank you, John. Now moving to the Turangi-Tongariro Ward candidates, and this is a question for all three of you, and this is about vision. And the question is quite simple. What is your vision for Tūrangi? What would you like to see happen in our Turangi region by 2035?
2035?
The 10-year plan.
Nothing gets done when it's too long a term plan. We need a short-term plan for Tūrangi. And what I would like to see is some of the $90 million that the council is holding being spent at our sewage plant, because that sewage is leaching directly into the Tikani Tauares, it's leaching into the swamps down at Tikani, and when you go swimming out in the front of the old Tikani wharf, take your grandchildren down there, take your kids down there, and swim them in that water. Guess what they'll come out with? They're going to come out itchy. And it's not a good look when you take them in the front of Braxmere Lodge and you take them there. All the visitors go to Braxmere Lodge and they take them for a swim. And guess what? I tested it myself. I went swimming across the Braxmere Lodge, stirred up all the water, stirred up all the mud, and guess what? I was itchy, and the next day I came up with hives. I did a practical test. Now, the water testing is a whole lot of rubbish unless you come down to the grassroots and you talk to the Hōkainga, which is the home people. And that's what I want to see when Waikato Regional Council take accountability on, Taupo District Council take accountability on the Turangi sewage plant, and you want to go just pump it up on the hill? No, you put in a proper system to make sure that that water is clean. You know why? Because yes, I might be dead in 10 years, Raph? But guess what? I intend to live to another 110 years actually. So that is
Sandra, isn't it?
It's a hard act to follow, isn't it? Currently at Taupo District Council, there are a number of staff working on something called the Turangi Master Plan. When this plan has been put together in a pretty good sort of a form, it will then go to Ngāti Turangi Tokua Charitable Trust, who, working very closely with Council, when they are happy with that, it will then come to the Turangi Co-Governance Committee. When it comes to the Turangi Co-Governance Committee, that will be then the time for it to go out to the community, where we will be looking for submissions for you. It will go to a consultation process. We want to hear what you want for the town. It's not about what we want for the town, it's what you want for the town. And that's the time then I will be speaking up and acting on your behalf. I will give you 2 instances of where we listen to this town. First of all, at the Mototeri Reserve Management Plan, we had an idea, we submitted, and what you wanted was different, and what we did was exactly what you asked for. And we also threw out the wheelie bins, because you didn't want them either. And we were going to have wheelie bins, but when we consulted, you said no. WRC, I'm very pleased to hear you've got money. We need buses.
So 2035 is a bit of a way off. Yeah. Will it take that long to get the grass out of the gutter on the Tongariro River Bridge? Maybe it will. I'd like to make that happen a little bit quicker than that. I'd also like to maybe tidy up the entrances and exits to the town. Get it looking nice, get some curbing and channeling in that matches and that actually extends out to where there's bits and pieces of it throughout each end of the town. Maybe that's where we should start first.
Now, Wahine, again, we're into vision for the Maori ward candidates as well. And so the question to you is much the same. What is your vision as a Maori ward councillor for the Turangi and Taupo Rohi? And again, what would you like to see happen in our Rohi by 2035?
Oh, thank you. My vision, not as a Maori ward councillor, but as an uri of Ngāti Tūwharetoa, is that this invisible barrier between Taupo and Turangi is erased, because Tiki ana te kōrero from the Hine Maiaia River, that's the boundary line. And what we're always seeing, whānau, and I know, I hear it, I see it on the notice board, I'm part of the community too. I come from the same world. And so I see firsthand when Turangi, when our whānau are raising their issues, and they raise it, they're quite vocal about the issues that they have within their community. And me tika, it's heard and it's addressed, it's acknowledged. Another thing that I want to see, another long-term vision for me, is that this divide is gone. There's no racism in Taupo anymore, because I'm going to be straight up, Taupo's a racist town. Ei whānau. That's what I want to see. I'm a mokopuna of Ngāti Tūwharetoa. That's my dream, is that we're living in a world where my babies don't have to grow up different from anybody else. They don't have to carry on fighting. They don't have to carry on holding hikoi to feel heard, to feel seen, to feel acknowledged. That's the way of the world right now, and that's got to change. Tēnā koutou.
I certainly can. It's about vision, yes. What is your vision as a Maori ward councillor for the Turangi and Taupo Rohi? What would you like to see in our Rohi by 2035?
Okay, so yes, vision. While I do have a vision for 10 years' time, I generally work on a 50-year because it's a generational plan. So the vision I'm looking for is to make sure when we say we come from Turangi, Taupo, wherever around the rohe, we're proud to be that. So whether you whakapapa Pākehā, Maori, heaha, you are proud to be Maori, you are proud to be who you are, and you are proud to be where you're from. Most of the time when I've been out and about in other rohe, if you say you're from Turangi, or even worse, Tokanu, they'll say, oh, where's that? I want people to know where we're from and that they can say, yeah, it's a beautiful town. That would be awesome. But at the same time, I just want to make sure the whānau that are here, their needs are being looked after. The whenua is being looked after. Our wai is being looked after. It isn't being looked after currently, and we need to focus on that. So I'm glad our Waikato Regional Council reps are here, because we're going to hit them up about that surplus and say that pūtea that was given to for Ngāti Karawia to restore some of that waterway down there is probably not enough. So we're coming to see you fellas.
And finally, to you ladies, at the end, again, it's another vision question. And the question is this: what is your biggest environmental focus? What is your biggest environmental focus for the Taupo Ruhi? What are you going to fight for on our behalf?
Obviously.
Now, Deb, you were not meant to be first.
That's all right. I'll go first. That's a hard one, because I look at the three things that I've been campaigning for, and I've changed over the past month, and that's because when you talk to the community, I think you can hear our community here. When you talk to our community, there's a number of things that our community want and need. So I guess for me, it's about taking a whole collaboration of different things. And actually going in and having a number. I would rather not have one thing that I choose. I would take a lot of different things and actually have wins, ticks. Because I'm going to say, for example, if I took 20 things out of this community and Repero, Taupo, Turangi, if we actually take a whole raft of things and I go into battle for all of those, out of the 20, I may come out with 10 that we've achieved. Buses, I can do that. There's things that I can say to you that I'll go in and I'll fight for, and I will do that. I'll go and fight for them. So for me, my long term and my vision is to have a rafter of things so that when I sit at the table, I know exactly what I'm fighting for. Because at the moment, I don't. I'm going in with my three things that I know very little about, but the community is the one that needs to tell me. I think you've heard that.
My long-term strategy would be the protection of Taupo catchment and the region's lakes and waterways. Why? Well, as a new councillor, I've spent quite a bit of time meeting people around the Rohi, and every one of them is complaining about water quality. And only today and yesterday I've had to intervene and get Waikato Regional Council out to sort out some imminent issues with water quality. So it brings to my mind, it's Te Kaupapa Kaitiaki, which expresses Ngāti Tūwhoritoa's values and aspirations as Kaitiaki of Lake Taupo, which in short means to me that any strategy for the lakes, waterways, or generally water quality is a long-term intergeneration and a holistic approach, upholding Kaitiaki-tanga, Manaaki-tanga and sustainability so that Lake Taupana waterways remain healthy, swimmable and full of life for future generations.
Now it brings us to our final question, which goes to the Mayoral Group. This question is about the mall, investment and the assets. And the question is this: with challenges around the Turangi With challenges around the Turangi Town Centre Mall with regards to vibrancy and maintenance, as Mayor, over the next 12 months, how will you engage with the town centre landlords and commit to improving TDC's assets in the Turangi Town Centre, including the atrium and the stormwater system? Do you want me to do it again? I'll start again. With challenges around the Turangi Town Centre Mall with regards to vibrancy and maintenance, as Mayor, over the next 12 months, how will you engage with the town centre landlords and commit to improving TDC's assets in the Turangi Town Centre, including the atrium and wastewater
Stormwater.
A lot of historical questions there. Is this working? A lot of historical questions in there, things we've been battling for a long, long time. In my time as a previous councillor, we've run no less than 3 township reviews on that town. We have wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. Jen Shepherd's here, she was part of it. I did one, and we went to the bottom drawer of the council filing cabinet, never see the light of day. I understand there's another one out there at the moment. They're talking about $150,000. This is an ongoing problem. Do I have a silver bullet answer? No, I don't. Retail around the world, in Times Square, New York City, they have empty shops. It is a hard beast to tackle. I don't have the answer for you straight up, but it's a work in progress again. And I think it's a case of making a decision, and once we make a decision, we lean into it with some conviction. Regards to the stormwater, again, historical problem. The Main Street program put excess water into our verandas, which has caused the destruction of private property. It is time to take that structure down. I agree the town centre is not looking the best it can. We had other opportunities to cheer it up. We once I came up with a plan and we were going to screen print every empty shop with the faces of our beautiful people in our town. And unfortunately, it never got any traction. Maybe we would that again. But in the interim, there's a report being done once again. But we cannot let this go into the bottom drawer once more. Thank you.
I'm like saying I'm absolutely thank you. Absolutely sick of it. This is my 5th term or 5th election that I've been through, and I've heard it time and time again. I took some time to meet with Graham Wyman, who's probably the largest property owner in town, and his views and visions and all that sort of thing. So yes, there is another plan on the go. This time we've got to nail it. We've got to do something about it, and we've got to be there. You know, I always advocated for a little bit of traffic through there, just to give it a bit of a Wanaka feel or whatever. Some river rocks, and really tidy it up. And talk to individual landlords, see if they want to continue on, because a lot of those shops are empty. So, yeah, an old retailer myself, and I know what it makes it tick. And but, as I say, I've been talking about it for far too long, and everything seems to be stymied along the way. But I give you the commitment here this evening that we need to do something, and we'll do it as quick as we can. Thank you.
I don't have any secret answers, because I'm all about saving money, and there is no one size that'll fits all. It's a real challenge. Other than keeping the place clean and tidy, that's about all we can do. There's a lot of empty shops. It's not only in Turangi, they're in Taupo as well. And we've got to not be in a cloud 9 delusion that we're going to fix it. Unless we can get the rates down so that it's cheap enough for people to actually rent them, it's not going to change. I'm sorry about that. All we can do is our best. Listen to you people. Tell us what you think. If you've got any ideas, I'm certainly willing to hear them.
So I agree, there is no silver bullet. There is $17.8 million set aside in the long-term plan to look at the town centre and the recreation centre for Turangi. That needs consultation, it needs your input, your agreement. And I agree with saying, retail globally is at a crossroads. I used that word earlier on. You can't keep flogging a dead horse. If retail is going to change, and if any of you are like me and you shop online for things, hands up those who've done that. The rest of you are not telling the truth. Anyway, look, retail is changing. You cannot keep doing what we've always done expecting the same results. So this is not just about the town centre. The rec centre is part of that. How are we going to activate that space? Again, I don't have a silver bullet. I don't think there is an easy answer. But what I would commit to is taking this community on the journey so that nothing is done to you, but it's done with you. Thank you.
Mike, good night. Can I add something from Waikato Regional Council?
You may.
Waikato Regional Council has 152 million annually in their budget, and part of that budget is safer roads. Safer roads being the Road to Zero campaign. So there's a lot of money sitting there, but what becomes apparent is that TDC and Waikato Regional Council need to have a korero and actually get together and try and do things together and fund things together, because the Turangi Street Revitalisation Project and the removal of 94 trees, which means there's no shade, no amenity for your local town centre, could probably piggyback off some Waikato Regional Council funding, because we have our own nurseries and we'll be able to help in a lot of the things that are wrong here in Turangi. So I think we need to sit down and work together.
Well, just a moment. Thank you, Deb, and I think hopefully the TDC councils and mayor candidates have picked that up on that. That oops, look, the only way to work is to communicate and talk together. And here's a situation: you guys say you've got no money. They say they do have money. Let's work together. Thank you, Deb.
Sit over here.
David.
Yes. Three of us going to get a chance to talk about this?
About?
It is within our ward.
About?
Are we going to get a chance? Are the three of us here going to get a chance to talk about this? Because we're passionate.
You're talking about the mall?
Yes.
You may have a minute, yep.
Okay. So, sorry. That's what my sign's about. Community issues, it's our town centre. Community solutions, that's the trick here. For years I've been bringing in outside contractors to do the work that our whānau and our workers here, our families need here to fix our township, because those contractors that they bring in, they don't love our town. It's us here that loves our town. Each and every one of you wouldn't be here on a Monday night otherwise. Hey, you all love our town, but we just got to come together and do that. But the funding has got to go to the right place, and we got to see how much funding is going to be used to do up that town centre and how we can budget to do it properly. And that's what I reckon, because we are sitting here. I was in the town yesterday on a Sunday, on a Sunday afternoon, but 2 o'clock, there was nobody in our town. You go to Taupo on Sunday, everybody's down the lakefront. We have no lake here, but it deserves more than holes in the roof. Barbed wire, which I believe is a duty of care for you guys to look at anyway, barbed wire to keep the kids from playing on the glass roof. That is not an answer to anything.
You, David.
Thank you.
Would Raf or Sandra like to make a comment?
Okay, thanks very much. Well, you heard what I said before about the plan currently underway at Council. I'm very happy to hear the Waikato Regional Council candidates say that there's money in the coffers that we can, and actually a friend of mine is from Horizons Council, and she has also told me that there is funding for the sort of thing that we need to do here. And so this is a conversation, and this is about what I do. I reach out to people, I talk to people, and I connect with people. I've been associated with this town for 30 years, and I've lived here for the last 10 years, and the town centre is a disgrace. End of story. I will support any mayoral candidate who will do something about it.
When I first came here, the town centre was quite a cool place to be. It was clean, tidy, it was open, it worked. People were proud to be there, shops were open. I understand the retail thing is changing. I face that every day as well in my business. Rocks are not going to fix our town centre.
Thank you.
The last thing we want is another fucking rock in our town centre.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. What we need is the roof gone, the town centre tidied up, How do you get people in the shops? Don't know. Not sure that's going to happen. But let's make a start on getting rid of the eyesore now.
Can I say something too?
You may, Wayne. Yeah.
Because everyone else got to, so I'm going to now as well. Yeah. I was just going to say, my thoughts, whānau, is that, like, we've heard it, too much hui, not enough dui. That's what's been happening, There's these long-term plans, but these problems are immediate, like, these problems require immediate action. You know, that the town centre is something that can't be built into a long-term plan. If we're looking at that's what I was talking about, we need to create communities where our tamariki feel proud of, where our tamariki feel safe. When I'm sitting at the bakehouse and I'm watching my babies run around and he's getting splashed from the puddles, I mean, surely Tūrangi deserves the attention it needs. And I'll tell you why we're not getting people traffic through here is because they're building sculptures like the Love Taupo and the big boom boom dinosaur and Taupo. Yeah. That's what people are going to look at. They're not investing in tourism and things that people want to come and see. We had the supercars event. Why was Taupo District Council pushing people towards Rotorua and not Turangi? That's my question.
I'm loving this. But to be fair, I'm thinking at the same time, our town centre did used to be a really awesome hub to be in. You went there, you saw everybody, you had a good chin wag. I remember driving through it with my grandfather, even though it's not a road. And that's where I learned how to drive a car. But we've got the winner of the retail award here. Yeah. Is she still here? Hey, right there. Yeah. I'm sure she'd be able to give us a bit of advice to the council on what actually makes a business work in Tūrangi. So we have people here that can do that. So let's use our own advice to fix our own problems.
Well, thank you, and hopefully the Mayoral candidates picked up on your comment, Wahine, less hui and more dui, because I do think it is a major issue that, and I'm sure everybody here would love to see a transformation in the town centre. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end. We're about 10 minutes early, but it brings us to the end of the formal program. So on behalf of Amplify and the Taupo Business Chamber, Beth and I would like to thank you very much for coming out tonight, and has been talked about. It's been a pretty miserable night, so I do thank you. I'd like to thank TDC for live streaming. Thank you very much. And now particularly to the candidates, I do thank you for coming out tonight, and I wish you all on behalf, and I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of the community here, I wish you all the best of success on the 11th of October. So, and I have mentioned before that this is the end of the formal part, but there is a tea and a coffee and a biscuit, and the candidates have said that they're happy to stay and have a one-on-one with whoever wants to ask a question of them. But I would just again, on behalf of Beth and I, like to thank you all very much for coming tonight, and please make sure you vote, because it is very important. Thank you very much indeed.